मेरा फ्रेम बराबर है? Good evening, friends. After a very, very long time, I'm doing a webinar Q&A with Sunil Damania. The last webinar I did with you people was Equity Outlook. Of course, I did few webinars with our PMS customers, but I could not come in front of you because of I was a little busy and so forth. I know everyone is concerned about Trump tariff. Market did see some kind of a negative reaction today. Yesterday, market did go down, and of course, in the evening, by the time we closed the market, it closed in the green. But today there was a heavy selling across the board, and you must be wondering, what am I supposed to do? Should I put more money? Should I take out my money? What you should be doing? So I'm going to discuss that also in this webinar. I'm going to give some interesting data points, what RBI governor said yesterday in the monetary policy, why RBI did not do the rate cut, how do we see the inflation going forward, what kind of GDP growth that we should expect, and do India face a problem of external debt? So what is our external debt to GDP ratio as we speak? So should we really be concerned about if the tariff is going to go up, and is it going to impact India very badly? So with all this, I'm going to discuss that, and of course I'll also tell you what strategy you should be doing in this market. And hence, please listen to me very, very carefully, because this webinar can make or break a few legs for you based on the size of your portfolio. But before I begin my webinar, just a small disclaimer. Can we show the disclaimer, please? This webinar is just to enhance your understanding about the equity market. Please consult a financial advisor before buying or selling any stock. Equity investment in the equities are subject to market risk, and past performance is no indicator of future returns. Now, let me start with the result. I think the whole world has been saying that results are bad. June numbers are bad, and I would like to differ with them. The numbers are extremely good. We need to understand in what circumstances the numbers have come. We had a fear on 2nd April, Trump announced the tariff, and then there was a postponement. There was a lot of uncertainty, the geopolitical as well as the trade barriers. And in these circumstances, India Inc. reported 9.7% growth Y on Y. Now, this number is extremely good. And if you look at, we are almost at the fag end of the result season. Why? Because 85% of the market was already declared the numbers. So the numbers are not going to change going forward drastically. Now, someone may argue, अरे Reliance का तो other income था ना, उसका impact होगा. Let's remove Reliance impact also. If you remove Reliance impact, the growth in earnings is 8.5%. Remember, the last financial year, for the full year, the growth was only 5% or so. And if you remember, even I made a statement that Nifty 50 June 2025 numbers would be negative, but that is not the case. So market is all about expectation and the reality. Unfortunately, right now people are basically ignoring these numbers purely because we are all overwhelmed by the tariff, and that's clearly not allowing us to think very rationally, sensibly, and that's why it's unnecessarily creating a fear. And when mind is fear, you can't think rationally. You can't see good things in life. And that's where the problem is. Now someone would say, no, ye to theek hai, abhi Reliance theek hai. It's all driven by the BFSI. So what I did, I removed India Inc. minus BFSI. 12% growth. In other words, the growth is not because of BFSI, which is a small segment. This growth is driven by the other segments of the society. And very interesting data which I'm going to present now, which gives a confirmation that somewhere consumption story is making some amount of a comeback. If you look at which market cap did well, it is the mid cap, 22.25% growth. As you can see, 22.5% growth that we can see here. Okay, let me see that. Oh, it's not coming in. 1 second. 22.5% growth in the net profit of mid cap. 7.7 with the large cap, and the small cap has been a little subdued, 5.5. So if you look at the total 9.7 that I basically gave numbers is a bifurcation of large, mid and small. It's a summation of large, mid and small. But if I bifurcate 9.7, the mid cap did better than the small. And of course, this is MFI definition, which is 101 to 250 companies in terms of the market cap. The consumption growth has been 13.7% as a basket Y on Y. Of course, agri did well 48%, capital goods 12%, manufacturing this. The service is 7.2. That's one reason that the 7.2 is basically a function of the BFSI and the function of IT. We all know that IT did not do well. So services accounts for almost 45% total market cap. And if that is so, the growth has been, but other engines are firing, and what gives me a little comfort level that other segments have grown at double digits. The consumption, which has been laggard for many, many times, has not only grown quarter on quarter, but also grown Y on Y. And that's the only segment that you can see has grown in terms of profit, both quarter on quarter and Y on Y. Now, why this makes very important, I want to convey that very loud and clear to everyone, because of two reasons. Number one, 100 bips rate coming in from the RBI. And number two, the 1 lakh crore rebate given by the income tax in the budget. Now, what does this mean? It's basically going to spur the growth. And number three, which people normally forget about, is an inflation. So when inflation is low, my ability to spend more goes up. Am I right? And people say, "अरे 6-7% से क्या होगा?" अरे भाई, inflation भी तो कम है. See, remember, India's profit has always been higher when the inflation was higher. So in real terms, there was no growth in the profit. But you need to understand in the context. If the inflation is 2.5%, if India is growing at 7.5%, it's an excellent numbers. But unfortunately, we would not look everything. We look everything in isolation, and that's where the problem happens in terms of understanding the data. So if inflation is low, if India is able to grow almost at 9.7%, I think that's a commendable job India did. If you look at the Indian balance sheet also, we are quite healthy. So, that's why I beg to differ with the most of the people who come on TV channels and say, "Oh, numbers are very bad." What is bad in these numbers? Explain me that. And how do you basically justify that bad number? If you look at with inflation, because profit is also a function of inflation, am I right? So if the inflation is low and my profits are high, it should be a commendable job that India did actually. Okay, let's look at the market cap, the valuations. We are still at 26 times. We are almost on the fag end of what we call the result season. Of course, the lowest is the large cap, 22. Mid cap is 31. And the small cap is 40. So small cap growth has been quite muted, one of the lowest amongst large, mid, and yet the P's are high, which doesn't justify. Mid cap did well, but still quite premium as compared to large, and large is at 22. The going forward, the expectation is that India Inc. should report at least double-digit growth for the FY 2026, and the first quarter numbers, I strongly believe, has laid a strong foundation for that double-digit growth in the earnings. Now, I presented one data about the consumption, but when I look at the auto, which is also a part of the consumption, has not done so well for the July 2025. The data which has come from FADA, of course, I think the note does not say its source FADA, but this has been taken from FADA. FADA is nothing but the Federation of Automobile Dealer Association, which is the retail sales. So when company reports the numbers to the exchanges, that's a wholesale number. And what the FADA reports the number is a retail number. So what company sells to dealer is a number reported by the company, and what dealers are able to actually sell to the retail investors like you and me is a retail number. So you should always look at this number. So if you look at the personal mobility is what? Two-wheeler and passenger vehicles, and both have shown degrowth of 6.5% and 0.8% respectively. Overall sales have been declined mainly because of the two-wheelers are down. Two-wheeler is a basically major chunk of almost 70% of the vehicle that's sold in India. Two-wheeler accounts for almost 70% of that. So it's a reason, and this is despite the fact that rate of interest are low, number one, and the tax benefits are already kicked in. So logically, the logical argument could be what? If the rate of interest are low, more people should be buying two-wheelers. Why? Your EMI will come down, isn't it? And yet that is not happening. People are able to save money, and yet they are not buying either two-wheeler or passenger vehicles. So I strongly believe what has not happened in the month of July, the benefit of that we are going to see in the subsequent months. It's not that it's not like an inventory with the hotel. It's not an inventory like with the airplane. You know, if the hotel is not able to, if the night is empty, the room is empty forever. वो वापस को replenish नहीं करने वाला है, because next day again new season will start. उस दिन का तो चला गया. The same way when the flight takes off, the seat which are empty is empty. But that's not the case with the two-wheeler or passenger vehicle. Someone who is not able to buy today can definitely buy tomorrow. In other words, there is a delay in terms of decision making, but not the permanent cancellation of that decision. So I'm very hopeful that we could see that numbers coming in. As you all know that the RBI monetary policy was announced, and the RBI governor says very clearly, while the geopolitical situations have really come under control, I think there is a challenge on the global trade, and which I think is really creating some amount of a havoc for the decision maker. So if you look at it, the world is going to face two problems. The problem is of stagflation, low growth, high inflation. And there are some countries within the developed economy are seeing some surge in the inflation. So policymakers, whether it's a Fed, whether it's a Bank of Japan, whether the other parts of the world, they will have to face three problems: slow growth or low growth, sticky inflation, and debt level are higher than what normally are. In India, we have a low inflation, good growth, and debt level are still in the manageable level. Of course, I will present the data, don't worry. So then the question comes, why did not RBI cut the rate of interest? Because that's a normal, a lot of experts in the market talk about that the inflation, the rate of interest should come down because inflation has gone much lower, isn't it? So why the inflation is not, why the rate of interest not come down? The reason is very simple. So RBI concern, one is that the headline inflation, and within that headline inflation there is something called core inflation. What is core inflation? The inflation minus food and fuel. Now the food inflation has completely come down. Why? Because India had a really good monsoon and so on and so forth. But the core inflation remained very at elevated 4%. Of course, it's not very high because RBI comfortable is 2 to 4%. The reason why they don't want to do it, because somewhere RBI believes that the last quarter of FY 2026, which is nothing but Jan to March 2026 quarter, the inflation may go up. If the inflation go up, does it make sense to right now reduce rate of interest? If you go back, our prediction, I did mention that there is a probability that we could see in the month of December rate cut coming in. Today, I'm forced to change my opinion purely because of the data coming in from this. And we should never stick to our opinion forever. If the new data comes in, you should accept that new data and you should move on in life. That's exactly, I believe. I don't think we should expect now any further rate cut from RBI till March 2026. If you look at the core inflation, it increased. It was in the region of 4.1% to 4.2 in February till May. It moved to 4.4%, and this is for the month of June, and this is driven purely because of increase in the gold price. One of the major factors that has happened. if you look at the inflation data itself from the RBI, they expect inflation to go to 4.91% by the first quarter of FY 2027. Okay, and that's another reason why RBI decided not to do this one. While the inflation is likely to go up, but it's not going to go up so much that it's going to pinch us very badly. The demand seems to be making some amount of a comeback. If you look at the data as presented by the RBI governor as per Nielsen IQ, the retail, the data for the first quarter of FY 2026, the 6% volume growth. And if I have to further bifurcate that volume growth of 6% between urban and rural, the rural has grown by 8.4 and the urban by 4.3. So in other words, there is some amount of uptick that's happening in the urban growth. And with 1 lakh crore rebate and the tax cut, low inflation should benefit urban growth. And if you look at the commentary after commentary, everyone has been talking about that second half of FY 2026 for India Inc. should be much better. And if that is so, why are we so much concerned about the present? Central government. If you remember last year first quarter, government could not spend. Why? Because of general election. This time the capital expenditure has gone up by 52%. So even that engine is firing for the economy. And if you look at the Kharif sowing, till now as of 1st August, 5.1% higher than what it was there last year. And if you look at the Food Corporation in India, the quantity of the buffer of rice and wheat has been much higher than normal times. That gives a lot of protection during the volatile global scenario, and number one. Number two, in terms of India's dependency on the food production. If you look at the cement and steel, both have grown by about 8%. And one of the reasons why is that purely because the government capex, which has gone up substantially as compared to last year same time. So that also gives a comfort level in terms of so whether it's a consumption, whether it's a infra, whether it's a government capex, the engines are firing. That makes me believe that numbers from India Inc. should be good going forward. This is GDP growth, 6.5% growth expected by the RBI. Of course, these numbers can move up or move down depending upon what kind of impact tariff could have. But right now, under no circumstances, India will grow less than 6%. And if you look at the global scenario where the 3%, even if the world is not going to grow at 3%, India is likely to grow at double the pace at which the world is growing. I think that's a very good thing to be in. External debt to GDP, and I think this one data that many people will start looking at it going forward. So just for your benefit, India's, even though it moved up, external debt to GDP did move up, it's still under control, 19.1% as of March 2025 compared to 18.5% March 2024. So that gives an idea about how comfortable we are in terms of external debt. If any country, if the banks and the financial institutions are not strong, it's very difficult to fund the growth. And when you look at the data for the first quarter of FY 2026, the NPA level, whether it's a gross or net, both have come down for the banks. It was 2.24 gross NPA, which came down to 2.6. It was 2.67. It came down to 2.24, and the net NPA came down from 0.6 to 0.53. And if you look at the net interest margin, it did go up. Okay, purely everyone was expecting because the RBI cut the repo rate. It's easy to basically pass on the what we call liability side. Sorry, on the asset side, it's difficult on the liability side. So that's what has happened. So these numbers will keep improving by third quarter of FY 2026. But of course, it came down to 3.24 versus 3.54. If you look at the NBFC, again, very similar trend. The gross NPA came down from 2.47 to 2.21. Net NPA came down from 1.08 to 0.95. And NIM, again, on the same line of what happened to the banks, it came down from 4.82 to 4.4. Bank credit growth has been little low, 9.8% as compared to 14% a year ago. And the reason has been that corporates are flush with the funds. And if that's the corporates are flush with the funds, there is a little reason for them to go for capex. And even if they go for capex, they will do it with the internal accruals. I think global uncertainty is another factor which many corporates want to play little safe rather than going aggressive in terms of this. So these numbers can improve as we move forward. Coming back to the monsoon, and the monsoon data, as we all know, has basically this one 2% above a long period averages. The east and northeast India, which was negative more than 20%, has come down to now -18 as of yesterday. South Peninsula still in a very decent -4. -4 is still considered as a normal rainfall. What happened to the market last 1 week? Before I go to the Trump impact, PSU Bank did well. Metal did well, surprisingly. Auto did well despite the July numbers not coming so great, and so on and so forth. But if you look at the medium small cap, almost lost in about 2%. The pharma is the worst performer, 2.77, followed by the realty. FMCG, despite consumption looking good, was down by 2.31. If I look at for the YTD, Bank, Nifty and Finance on the top, IT and the realty are on the bottom. If you recall Nifty Realty was one of the best performing sector, am I right, in calendar year 2024, which is now among the worst performing. And 20% fall in one index like IT is a substantial number. FPI, the hot and cold story with India continues. In the July, they sold. In the August, till now, they've been down by 17,000 crore or so in the equity market. I strongly believe they should make very strong comeback in the near future. Now let's try to understand the Trump 25% tariff. So while many people talk about export as a percent of GDP to US is very nominal and when we should not be worried, I'm not very sure that's the right way to look at it. One of the best way to look at it, what percentage of US, India's exports to the US accounts in total exports of India. And that number is 18% for calendar year 2024. The data that is available with the Ministry of Commerce is till April. And that number is 22%. So it's 22% according to me. So that means it's not a small number by any stretch of imagination. But Trump has played a very smart trick. He said, I'm not going to impose immediately. That additional 25% tariff I'm going to impose after 21-day window. I think somewhere he still believes that I can negotiate, I can do arm twisting with the India to get that. I'm not very sure this will eventually go through, the 25% additional. I think there will be a way out, and I don't expect India will be paying 50% duty on our exports. Market did not go down yesterday. In fact, it closed in the green. Market today did move down. Do I see a major downfall? Answer is no. See, most of the things are there in the price. The reason why market is down because of tariff only. So, I don't expect too much negative reaction from here. So, of course, I'm not saying market cannot fall from here. But I don't expect market to fall by 5% or 10% from this level. That's what the limited point I wish to say. If you look at the risk reward has absolutely gone in the favor of reward. Okay. Now I understand that you would have a fear that if tariff aa gaya, kya hoga, kya nahi. One of the smart way to play is a domestic theme. So what is a domestic theme? If you go back to our equity outlook 2025 sector, BFSI, is it domestic theme? The answer is yes. Capital goods infra, is it domestic theme? Answer is yes. And for some reason, if government believes or thinks that economy needs some support, don't believe me, capital expenditure can further go up. Okay, so that will further benefit capital goods and infra. And number 3, consumption is FMCG. So again, FMCG is a domestic theme. It's not an export-driven theme. Of course, there are some countries, FMCG companies do have export, that they have a business outside India, but that's not in US. So that's another advantage. So I strongly believe that you should play domestic thing, number one. Number two, use this opportunity. Yesterday I bought, today again I bought. It's not that I'm buying everything at one go. What I'm doing, I'm staggering my investment. I would request something similar to you people also. And number two, go with the domestic theme right now. Don't go aggressive in export theme. I know risk reward could be favorable at this point, but we don't know how it's going to play out, am I right? So when there is a doubt, play a little safe now. And some of the good companies are available good valuation within the domestic theme. So then why to take a chance with that? So how PMS is doing in terms of exposure, let me give you that example so that you can also build around that. What we have done, we look at top 20 companies, which would be more than 95% of total exposure. The stock number one, which is the highest holding, has an export revenue of 27%. But export revenue from the US is zero. So what we have tried to see that how are we playing, so if you look at last 1 month, the PMS did better than the benchmark. Why? The market fell by 3.5%. Our strategy is down by only 1.5% or so. So that's where we are playing basically. So our IP is also helping us to do that. So when I look at the weighted average AUM, which has an export exposure, is 26.7%. And when further I drill it down to the US, it's only 5.8%. In other words, our negative impact because of US tariff is not so much on our portfolio. I would request everyone right now to focus on domestic theme, and that's the best way you can. But this is not the time to move out of the equity. It is a time to increase allocation to the equity market. Because if you invest now, you will make more money. The rule of the game is very simple: buy low, sell high. In other words, when the sentiments are down, use that as an opportunity. And when sentiments are at peak, that's an opportunity to lock in the profits. So my request to all of you, make volatility as your friend, make fear as your friend, and start putting more allocation to the equity. I can tell you, do not expect market further down from this side. The risk reward favors reward at this point of time. Let's open the floor. Please remove the thank you slide, please, so that I can be on the, yeah. Can we put the question, please? Tahan, I say, hello Sunilji, can you create a global stock portfolio that is a 10 stocks or 15 stocks combined from different countries? I think we should be able to do it. I think we do have an IP there. Taha, your question is very right. Please ask Mohit. I think he's the right person to answer that question. I basically take care of PMS, so I will not be able to, but it's very much possible. The only thing I think in the logic that the team has to define that how much allocation we need to do to different parts of the world, and that could be a function of developed, emerging and frontier market, and that's how we need to decide that. But I think it's very much possible. So I don't think it will be possible tomorrow kind of a stuff. But within 6 months, Tahaji, I think it should be possible, very much possible. Please raise this question with Mohit so Mohit can take it up with our product team and start building on this philosophy. Satish Prabhu, respected Sunil sir, what will be the impact of gold price specifically in India considering the proposed tariff on gold bars? Thanks in advance, Satish. So sir, the Trump tariff is on gold bars. So I think don't get confused with this import and export. Am I right? There is a tariff on exports, no tariff on imports. That remains as it is only. In India, exports a lot of gold and jewelry. Am I right? To the US. So and we import, we process and we export to the US. Okay. If my memory serves me, near about 40% or so, I think total gold and jewelry which I can export goes to the US actually. So I don't think tariff has any impact, negative impact or the positive impact on the gold as such. My view on the gold, irrespective of what happens to tariff, is that its gold has run up too fast, and it's a global quantity. We are the price taker, not the price maker. So I don't think, Satishji, that we should expect too much rally in the gold price. Of course, in last couple of days has done well, but will get sustained. The answer probable answer is little no. So I would recommend don't give too much importance to tariff as regards to gold as far as gold is concerned, and I don't think it's the right time to take increase exposure to the gold. If at all you want to have money and you want to increase exposure, please increase it to the equity. Ranjit, sectors not affected by tariff, or kindly mention which sectors to be looked for. Sir, Ranjit sir, I think you missed my presentation. I did mention domestic theme, within domestic theme, BFSI, capital goods infra, FMCG, if I can add one more sector, if you allow me to do so, is agrochemical and fertilizer. I think these sectors are completely domestic driven. We should not, they in fact, on the contrary, they will get benefit of that. Why? Because some money which is being lying with the export driven companies will come and move into domestic things. So they should do very well. So these are 4 sectors I would say please focus on. Samir sir, when should one consider quarter on quarter and Y-on-Y will be great if you can educate us. And if this in this webcast you are focusing Y-on-Y, ignoring Q-on-A, which is negative. So Samir sir, I think I've explained this many times that June numbers one should never consider quarter on quarter. The reason is very simple. In India, March quarter is the best quarter. So if you look at the Indian net profit, you will always see the highest net profit in March quarter compared to December, compared to September, compared to June. The moment you compare the March to June, most probably it will be negative, most probably, most of the time. The Y-on-Y is the best way. But if you wish to compare quarter on quarter, you can compare September to June is fine. Even if you can compare December to this is fine. But you should never compare March to December. It will always look better. So March and June, you should always consider Y on Y, not Q on Q. I hope that answers your question, Kanabad sir. Rajiv Pal, through the June end quarter results are not bad. The PE of all market caps, particularly mid and small, are high with rich valuation. Also, geopolitical situation is in a bit of flux, and the auto sales set doesn't despise too much. Yet you feel the next one year will be stronger in its growth. Yes, sir, Rajiv sir, you are absolutely right. You have understood me very correctly. The reason I am saying so, again, I repeat for the benefit of everyone. The monsoon is good. 3rd year in a row. Inflation is quite benign. Even though we'll go up, still will be less than 5%. 1 lakh crore tax rebate which is coming in, उसका अभी तक तो benefit चालू नहीं हुआ है. 100 bps rate cut which has been announced by the RBI, उसका भी benefit अभी तक start percolate down नहीं हुआ है. This will all come into play in this. And if you listen to Rajiv sir, the commentary which is given by corporates, everyone saying, almost everyone is saying that H2 would be much superior as compared to H1 of FY 2026. So what would happen by the time this July comes, market will start discounting the FY 2027 numbers. The numbers which have started coming in will be much, much improved numbers. I do expect the FPI also to make a very strong comeback. And that's another reason I believe I'm extremely bullish on the market. So growth in earnings is a function of the good monsoon, rate cut, and the income tax benefit. All coming together should make a very... And remember, we also have a good base effect. Why base effect? Because last financial year, India grew in a single digit. So that's make another good reason for India to grow in a mid-teens kind of a growth in FY 2026. I hope that answers your question, sir. In case if it is not, please put it again. I'll happy to answer that again. Raj, reference to my PMS account, Mr. Sunil keeps saying that the dividend goes into the personal account, I say, and not to the PMS account. I have following query. How can we find out that? Can we get a passbook of that account and find out and what should be done? I have not verified the dividend so far from PMS since inception. Please suggest, Rajan sir. So sir, I don't think I've ever said that dividend account goes into the personal account in PMS. Sir, मुझे बता दीजिए वो clip जहाँ पे मैंने बताया है where I've said that dividend goes into the personal account of a client. If it is the NRI customer, so in NRI customer, the bank account is different, the demat accounts are different, because in resident India, we buy everything in a pool. So I don't know whether you are NRI or RI. But if you are NRI, it will be reflecting in your bank statement. We can share the data. But that money is available with us, we can reinvest that amount. So it doesn't go to your personal bank account. Whether it's an RI or NRI, it doesn't go into a personal bank account dividend income in PMS. Let me make it very loud and clear. And please show me one clip where I've said that in PMS, the dividend income goes into a personal account. Sir, I would love to correct myself. उस दिन सर मैं कुछ पी के आया होगा तभी स्टेटमेंट मार सकता हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम वेरी क्लियर इट डजंट गो टू दैट. Lokesh sir, is there any issue on site? I am not able to log in. So yes sir, Lokesh sir, you are right. I think there is a technical problem that a lot of you people are facing. Our team is working on it to resolve the same. So you are right, there is a technical problem. So please bear with us. I think everything should be fine by the time you come and join us on Monday. Chaudhary sir, from last 3 months you were saying that our government is very smart and not uttering anything on Trump, blah blah. Still you are saying the same opinion. Thank. Sir, I must tell you, this government is a very, very shrewd government we have ever had. They've never ever made a single statement which is anti-US yet till now. They are very measured in their comments. Okay, what did they say? Prime Minister also made a statement. We will protect the national interest. He never said that this is wrong and that is wrong. The only statement that Minister of External Affairs has made a statement, the way India is buying a crude oil, US is also buying some stuff from the Russia, and hence why we will single out. But today there was Reuters carried a story and the Ministry of Defense denied that. What was the story was? India has decided to stop buying defense products from the US. The statement has been refuted by the Ministry of Defense today. So this government knows when to say, when to speak, how much to speak, and what to speak. A lot of credit should go to them actually. The one reason market is also still behaving in a very matured manner is because of this. Because I think market still has. If you look at YTD, that is 2025, the market is still in green. It's still not in red actually. That shows that. And remember, one should never underestimate the power of India. India as a country is a very, very strong country. And hence no country in the world can take it for granted. And Trump will realize this fact very, very soon. VC sir, thank you for your guidance all the time. Can you please advise if the market transfer is recently changed by market, as I have not tested my portfolio? Yes, you are right, absolutely right, VC sir. So what we have done, if you look at my presentation, we have moved so previously, okay, what was the previous definition of market cap? Anything above 20,000 crore is a large cap. Anything between 5,000 to 20,000 crore is a mid cap. Anything 1,000 to 5,000 crore is a small cap. Anything less than 1,000 crore is a micro cap. That was the definition. Well, the market cap remained fixed despite the index moved up from 30,000 to 80,000. So we said now, as the world has changed, we will also change, and we have now incorporated MFI defined market cap. So what does the MFI does? MFI twice in a year they come out, they revise that market cap definition. So okay, sorry, not the definition, but list of companies that qualify into large cap, mid cap, and the small cap. And what is the definition remains the same. The 1 to 100 companies is in terms of market cap ranking are large cap. 101 to 250 companies based on the market cap are mid cap. And anything beyond 250 are all small cap. That's what it has been defined as. In our system, I don't know whether that system has gone live or not. What we have further modified based on the MFI is that anything between 251 to 125 on market cap rank will classify as small cap. Anything beyond 125 on market cap company we classified as a micro cap. MFI does not define any company as a micro cap. Sajid sir is saying, is it a good idea to increase allocation in infinity portfolio? New investment will definitely take care of tariff case and US export issue, right? Absolutely right. My request to Sajid sir, not to you, but everyone. See, I am saying what I am doing in personal in my portfolio. Am I right? I have a very simple philosophy in my life. I will advise only those things which I am comfortable doing on my own. Whether it's a company, whether it's an assets allocation. I will never ever recommend a company to buy if that company I am not comfortable buying in my personal portfolio. I told you I am increasing allocation to equity. I did today also, I did yesterday also, I did on 31st July also. I must tell you the date also. Every opportunity I am going to buy more and more because I strongly believe next 12 months Indian equity market will give very good returns to the investors. Yes, last 1 year has been completely washed out here. That doesn't mean, that's why we keep saying past performance is no indicator of future returns. Paramesu sir, my account is valid till July 2029, but my portfolio and watchlist mutual fund portfolio disabled. How? Sir, there is a technical issue. I must tell you, not only you, many customers returned to me. Someone also put me on a Twitter saying this is what has happened. The thing is, sir, so your validity is very much in, sir. Whatever you are saying may be right. Very soon you will see this everything visible to you. We are facing some technical glitch. That's the reason it's not visible. We are working on it. Our team is working on it. It will get fixed during the weekend. Chaudhary sir, from the last 3 months, it's a repeat. भाई अच्छे दिन कब आएंगे? SPH आउटपुट इज नॉट होती था मार्क. ओके, विवेक मिश्रा सर से अच्छे दिन कब आएंगे? सर अच्छे दिन तो चल ही रहे अपने. क्या होता है हमारे, देखो दैट्स वेयर द सेंटिमेंट, वी आर सो मार्केट द सेंसेक्स एंड निफ्टी इन 2020 स्टिल इन ग्रीन, इट्स नॉट इन रेड. हाँ, लास्ट 1 year वी नॉट मेड मनी, बट दैट डजंट मीन दैट्स अ बैड डे. So, Vivek ji, we need to all understand and appreciate that equity market will never ever give you returns, positive returns every year. There will be some years, there will be positive, there will be some years, there will be negative. Same course applies with the portfolio also. Not all companies in a portfolio are going to be positive returns. Why don't you look at in a block of 3 years? And when you look at the block of 3 years, Indian market still gives a good return and decent returns. तो अच्छे दिन थे, चल रहे और चलते रहेंगे. Wow, Nimesh Kanani sir, very good, big question. Good evening. With due respect to you, I have detailed analysis study on gold and silver. Gold in a super bull cycle and can check in Google, and silver has breakout of 45 years after Hunt Brothers fiasco in use during 1980. Please say this as a benefit to all investors. Please, sir. Perfect, Nimesh sir. See, there is nothing wrong with having a different opinion, sir. कोई भगवान तो है नहीं कि सब कुछ जो बोलेगा सही होने वाला है. I believe gold as a little limited upside, but I agree with you, silver is a better. If you remember, when someone asked me about the Akshay Tritiya, and I did mention that I did buy gold on Akshay Tritiya, that is on 30th April, but I bought few grams of gold, but I bought few kgs of silver, because I believe silver should do better than the gold. So I believe the gold has a limited upside from this level. I'm not saying for next 5 years and 10 years. I'm saying in the near future. But silver still has a lot of potential. But anyway, thanks for your insight, sir. I wish that you are right and I prove wrong, because if more investors get benefit of your insight, so be it, sir. Rahul Kumar Jain, I believe that Mojo IP has been compromised as we had so many companies with more than 70 scores. It's still unfair practice, so wrong stocks wanting investors to lose money and join your infinity portfolio for additional fees. Also, current market cap difference doesn't look good. If you wish to continue the same, then please add market cap in rupees crore and add field as Mojo cap as per previous definition. So I don't know what is compromise. With more than 70 score, we see so many companies with score. So what is compromise? I don't understand, sir. What do you mean by compromise? Why would we have, infinity portfolio for additional fee? Sir, you are reading too much between the lines. I can tell you with a lot of confidence, Not a single agent has been compromised as far as the Mojo Stocks model portfolio MarketsMojo website is concerned. When we launch new product, it doesn't come at the cost of the existing product. Let me be very loud and clear to every one of you. Because all our customers are using, most of our customers are using all three products. We can't afford to hypnotize that customer by doing well in one and not doing somewhere else. We can't do that. And your point is that we should put two market cap, old and new. I think it will unnecessarily confuse Jain Saab. I don't think that's to let more people suggest so, maybe then we can basically consider that. But I don't think that's it. And we do put market cap, sir. Rupees crore to likhte hi na, kahan nahi likhte? Hum log likhte hai na kitna uska market cap hai. And then we say that it's a large cap, mid cap or small cap, sir. So that data is available. Ki kitna crore market cap hai. It's still very much available, sir. If you still want us to help you with that, please write to us. Someone will reach out to you and help you finding that. The values are displayed, sir. We recently exited the Mojo stock from the EMS sector in my model portfolio. Today, the company reported disappointing results, triggering 20% over circuit. Although we exited the model flow country, I still hold the stock in a personal flow. What are your thoughts in the future prospects? So the company is good, sir. It's not that company is bad, actually. See, sometimes, you need to understand that do I need to book losses? What is your comfort level? What is your time horizon? That's what you need to really look at it, actually. If I would be in your place, I would still exit, because why? We exited from our portfolio. We advise you to exit from the portfolio. Exit, reinvest that amount in some new stock. And as and when the company, the fundamental improves, you can re-enter that company. कोई जरूरी नहीं कि वो कंपनी जब ने एक बार बेच लिया वापस ले नहीं सकते. You can still buy that company again at the appropriate time. So my advice would be, please get out. Just a clarification, model photo 2, do I have to delete the order portfolio and liquidate them? No. Tandan sir, no, you don't do anything that, sir. Our IP will, so basically what would happen as and when some exit happens, it will realign the portfolio. So I don't think you have to do anything. So you don't have to delete your existing model portfolio to move to model portfolio 2.0. Not at all. You don't do anything. Whatever not to be done will be done by us, not by you people. Just follow our advice in a disciplined manner. As one of our investors did not follow, and today he's saying the same company down by 20%. My request, please follow our advice in a most disciplined manner. Whatever needs to be done, we will tell you when to exit, how much to exit, and what next to be done. आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, आपको सिर्फ वहाँ instruction follow करना है. Rao sir is saying how much money is waiting on sideline to be deployed. Sir, आप मुझे पूछ रहे हो मेरा तो कितना पैसा होगा? So I'll tell you I'll give you some data point, okay? At any point of time in my saving account, I will have 1 crore. Okay? At any point of time. अगर मैं आपको लास्ट 2 साल का दे दूँ तो मेरे पास 1 करोड़ ऐसा चिल्लर रहता ही है साइड पे एक सेविंग्स अकाउंट में. So as and when I feel like putting money, I'll put money. That's how it works actually. So आप समझ कर चलो 1 करोड़ रुपया है. Now what percentage accounts, you can make your guess. Ganesh Moji sir saying, I've said multiple times, gold, India is the gold price taker. Who is the maker of gold price? So sir, the country that imports, and which is, so India does export, it's not that India is not a good importer of it, about 20-25%, if my memory serves me right, is that. So normally what I've seen is that people, those who sell gold, are the price maker. जो प्रोड्यूस करता है, बिकॉज गोल्ड इज अ रेयर कमोडिटी. और जब भी वो सप्लाई डिमांड ज़्यादा आता है, सप्लाई कैन नॉट इंक्रीज सिग्निफिकेंटली, एंड दे बेसिकली जैसे ओपेक कंट्रीज, दे आर द प्राइस मेकर. इंडिया इज द प्राइस टेकर फॉर क्रूड ऑयल. तो अदर दोज हु आर प्रोड्यूसिंग गोल्ड, नाउ यू विल आस्क मी विच आर द कंट्री विच प्रोड्यूस गोल्ड. इवन दैट्स अ गुड क्वेश्चन. इवन आई नीड टू फिगर आउट विच आर द कंट्री विच आर द लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ गोल्ड इन द वर्ल्ड. फॉर दे आर द प्राइस मेकर, वी आर द प्राइस टेकर, सर. Tandon sir, my portfolios are doing very well. You have cleared my anxiety. Thanks a lot, sir. I am able to clear that doubt in your mind. So there are no more questions or time up?
So the questions are more or less done.
More or less done. So we have a new team today who is basically managing this webinar. And one of the members is so new, so I think she must be in a little rush to go home. Can we have? Oh, so let's take last two questions, sir, in the interest of the time and everything. Kanani sir, my humble request to tell investors to just search in Google Gold Excel cycle. Everyone will love to read that time and again. Sure sir, please जो निमेश सर ने जो बताया, please everyone you can do that. You can get benefit of the insight Nimesh has. You can do that. Neither I am vouching for or against it. Just a disclaimer there. Okay, I think very clearly the message is loud and clear that please conclude this webinar. So good night everyone. Take care. Wish you happy Nariyal Purnima. Wish you happy Raksha Bandhan tomorrow. Please enjoy the festive and see you again next week. The schedule has not been decided, but with our PMS customer, definitely I'm there on next Thursday. I don't know with other when I'll be, because I think next Friday is a Independence Day, 15th August. So I'm not very sure whether there is slot available for me to do any webinar or not. But definitely on Thursday with our PMS customer. Good night. Take care.